How's it going, people? Slabber here, and yeah, this video is my actual very first successful run of the fight kiln. And I thought I'd sort this out, and I was going to do a complete and thorough guide for it. But once it was near completion, I was on like wave 28. All that was left was the last couple of waves for me to actually commentate and edit. Sony Vegas decided it would corrupt my little project save file like a little bitch. So yeah, I've had to start again, and yeah, sorry for the late delay, but it does take a bit of a time to do this, and if you'd like I can actually make a gear guide after it. But without further ado, so for the first 9 rounds, all you have to do is quite literally come to this south side here, as you can see on screen now, and you can hide exactly where you see me hiding, in just behind that little L shape. And this way, almost every single mob that comes at you will only be being attacked by one type of combat at a time. And for the most part, for these first rounds, it's pretty much just full range. Now, that little bit you just seen there, where I managed to edge that little fella forward, you literally just have to stay one step above that mound, and he'll just come across. And then as soon as he starts moving across, head straight south, and you'll avoid the ranger, and you only have to deal with melee. This way you're pretty much protected from whatever class is trying to kill you. So here, for example, you got rangers and mages. So you just simply hit him, check on mage, make sure you don't go too far west, otherwise that ranger will hit you, as you can see just then. And it's pretty much just that, over and over again for the first 10 levels. It's really pretty straightforward, nice and easy. And you pretty much just sit there and hide for the most part for the first 20 levels, give or take. And it's very easy to do. I would highly recommend bringing along all 3 combat triangle attack styles, as they are actually incredibly useful, and it will let you rip through these that much quicker. So for example, I only brought the Royal Dragonhide body crossbow with broad bolts, and as you can see I've got a vine whip, and instead of bringing a Dragonfire shield I decided to bring just the Dragon Defender. Now as you can see on wave 6 I should say, you will get this armadillo, and he'll be up in the northeast corner, and as you just seen on screen, you literally just move to the center and just to the side of him. If you've got dread nips, then send your dread nips after him, and you can just stand there nice and peacefully waiting for it to die. Alternatively, if you don't have dread nips, you will have to use a pickaxe to destroy his armor. And there's a method called flinching which you can do, which basically consists of moving 2 steps away from the mob so it can't hit you, and then running up, hitting it with the pickaxe, waiting until its life bar disappears, and then hit it again with the pickaxe, moving back and forth each time. This way you will not take any damage, and you will break his armor without any trouble. So a good bit of information. If you want to know more on the flinching, there's a guy called Smokey on YouTube, which I'd highly recommend checking out for a fight kiln guide, as he actually shows you how to flinch the Jad as well as the armadillos throughout the fight kiln. So I'd highly recommend having a little look at that. Yeah, it's fairly straightforward, I've got to be honest. There's not much to it. As you can see now on wave 8 you get the massive chunky shit-flinger mage. I don't know what else to call him. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. These things can actually hit quite hard, so if you do have dread nips, I'd highly recommend using them on it, on every single one of these you come across, as they can take your life away quite a lot. Additional, I would actually highly recommend bringing along a Vampirism aura if you do have it. It's not overly expensive, it's probably around 20k if I remember rightly, and it's more or less a mini soul split, so it really does help, as you can keep your vampirism going while doing these first bunch of rounds, and overall it will save you probably quite a lot of brews. So on screen I'm now on wave 9, and I'd highly recommend sitting right by here, for wave 10, as wave 10 is Jad, and while staying here, as you can see, Jad can't attack you. As I said before, you can flinch the Jad. It will take a lot longer to kill him, but it is a lot safer than prayer switching. As you see there, nearly died. And yeah, I do this a few times. But prayer switching on this Jad, I don't know if it's just me or what, but I do find it a lot easier to prayer switch on the Kiln Jads compared to the Fight Cave Jads. And as soon as you've killed him, just finish off the Ranger and head back to your hiding spot. So for these, you'll mostly have mages now. So hopefully you brought along a ranged weapon, as if you're meleeing them, they will use magic and melee against you, which will actually whittle down your life more and more and more, which obviously I'd highly recommend avoiding, for good reason, as the entire idea of this fight kiln is to last as long as possible with the most brews possible. The more brews you have for the final boss, the more likely you are to get your cape. So again, throughout all these rounds up until 20, it's exactly the same thing. You hide behind the little L shape and just kill whatever comes at you using the correct protection prayers. I'm not going to specify which, as you can simply see whichever mob is going to be aggroing on you. As you can see, just move your camera down like this, and you can see what's coming straight at you. So mage, obviously, simply range him in the face, job done. So as you can see, it can take a fair amount of time to actually kill these things. They are quite annoying. And on this round again, you'll have a chunky mage on the west this side instead of the east. So if you have the dreadnips, bring them out to play. I wouldn't recommend doing what you just seen on screen, as yeah, as you can see, it screwed me over completely because now everything's attacking me. But you will find crystals at the center rock, and some of them are incredibly useful, and I'd highly recommend probably picking up 2 invulnerability crystals if you can, as they will save your ass, and you especially need 1 for the later rounds. You can actually pick these invulnerability crystals up on the very first wave, the 13th wave, and the 25th wave. I'd recommend picking them up on the 13th and 25th, simply because if you pick it up on wave 1, you'll have to constantly drop, say, a restore pot, and pick it up each time to inventory swap. Although if you're happy doing that, I'd highly recommend doing it, as the more you've got, the easier it is. Additionally, there are quite a few others which are really handy. For example, the Constitution Crystal is actually amazingly useful, and you can pick those up at 11, 23 and 35, and they actually boost your HP by 50% for 3.5 minutes each time you use it, which means your uni and your brews all heal a hell of a lot more, which for obvious reasons is amazing, as instead of eating so many brews, you eat one hell of a lot less, which means even more brews left at the end. Additionally, you can pick up restore crystals, which will fully heal you and fully restores your prayer points as well, and they are on wave 3, 15 and 27. If you've got the inventory space, I'd highly recommend picking up the Constitution, Restoration and Invulnerabilities, as they're incredibly handy. Especially the Restoration, you could quickly pop that if you mess up on a Jad, for example, like you see me do on wave 10. As they can save your ass. It's the difference between failing and succeeding a wave, pretty much. Also, you do get magic range and strength crystals. Personally, I didn't use any of them throughout the entire fight kiln, although from watching other guides and other players go through their fight kiln and what they did when they did it, they do say that taking a magic crystal can be very handy, especially on the final wave if you're wearing full Ganodermic apparently, as the extra magic damage will allow you to obliterate the boss that much quicker. Although if you're worried about your brew usage, I'd probably go with the Constitution, as the extra heal from brews and unis could very well mean you winning or losing. So like I was saying, there's really not a massive amount of tactics or strategy involved in the first 20 waves. As you've pretty much seen on video already, the first 20 pretty much consists of you just moving to the south side, hiding behind the L shape, protecting against whatever's attacking you, and that is pretty much it. Yeah, there's really not a lot to it. At around these waves up until roughly wave 25, you will mostly just have mixtures between all three combat classes, and then mostly melees past level, well, wave 20 to 25. On that note, for those waves 20 to 25 where it's pretty much just all melee attacking you, you can actually do it so you take almost no damage or none at all. So you don't actually need a heal, and in fact I didn't even bother using overloads, although that can actually help you if you feel like killing them slightly quicker, although particularly there's no rush if you bring 3 turtles or 3 yaks with you, as you can just simply take your time and you've got nothing to worry about. Plus it's always nice to do this a bit chilled if you've never done it before, as the moment you start to panic is when you start screwing up, which I would highly recommend. So just lay back, take it easy, don't try too hard, don't start panicking. Easier said than done when you hit wave 30. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of the first 20 waves. Not much else to it. For those of you who are curious, I did buy 2,000 broad bolts for this fight kiln, and at the end of it I had just over 1,600 bolts left. I am 99 range and I was using overloads, so for those of you who don't have overloads or have lower range, I would highly recommend bringing at least the 2k, as you will be using more bolts than I did. And as you can see on this wave, you do get the extra armadillo again, or armadillo even. So same job, pickaxe him in the face or dread nibbit, either way. Not much to worry about there. So yeah, on wave 20, same thing as wave 10, you want to sit in this little spot here, and again, Jad will be trapped. I'd highly recommend taking the mage out first, as he can rip you a new one if you ain't too careful. And then again, either gank him with the cheap little tactic, flinching, or prayer switch. Either way, you just need to take out the Jad. And finally, once he is dead, we'll have the second cutscene. And now begins the extra little tactics. So this is where it starts getting a little bit more interesting. I'd highly recommend starting off here, and then run straight north, then to your west to gather all up the little nibbers, then to the far northeast corner, and then bring them south as you just seen, and they will all get trapped on this little rock here. You can turn off all your prayers, there's no need to overload, there's no need to use any pots or anything. Just sit there and mage their faces off. Takes a little while, but it is really, really easy. Like, pathetically easy. If you happen to be on low life and you do have access to Soul Split, you can actually use these to fully heal yourself. So if you happen to take a little bit of damage while you're gathering them all up, for example, you can just heal it all back straight away. And as soon as you're finally on the last one, get ready to click back into the northeast side and sit here again. And it's exactly the same deal. Gather them all up and trap them behind that rock again. One may come across like you see here, Other than that, piece of piss. So like I said, the melee rounds are really pathetically easy. They pose no threat at all to you. And again, for wave 23 is exactly the same deal. Bring them all the way around, trap them behind the rock. Very simple. And just sit back and relax. Now for these next bunch of rounds, keep in mind that at the end of each round, as soon as you've killed the last one, you can log out and it will save your progress. So if you're unsure of what the next round is going to bring, like I was here, I'd highly recommend logging out. So for this round, as you've seen, I started off on the south side of the rock, and you've seen the Ranger come towards me. As soon as I seen it, I ran directly east. This way the Ranger should get trapped on the centre rock, and this way all you have is the melees to deal with. Very easy. So for this wave, I'd highly recommend starting off on the northeast like you do with the Jads, and then carefully make sure you run directly north without making a mistake moving to the sides. And then to kill the Rangers, you need to move 2 steps to the west of the centre rock if you line yourself up towards the centre, and then 2 steps to the west to kill the other one. Exactly as you see on screen, then move down to the centre, protect from magic, take out the mage in the back. And then when all's said and done, finish off the melees. This may be slightly quick, so you may want to watch it over a few times. Sorry about that, but I was trying to rush this video out after the massive fuck up with Sony Vegas. Sorry about that. But the tactics are there. So again, starting off on the east side this time, 1 square above the middle barricade, and protect from magic as you've got the 2 chunky mages having a go at you. Now you've got to be careful you don't go too far up while killing this top mage, as there is actually a Ranger trapped on the centre rock on the west side of it, same as the previous waves. And you want to make sure you don't stand right next to this little barricade preventing the melee from hitting us, otherwise the Ranger will come over. By doing it this way, you're only being attacked by the mage, and you're not being attacked by the Ranger at the same time, which, especially if we're in Ganadermic, he will rip through your defense. And this way, you've got absolutely no worries, and you can take him out nice and easy. So for wave 27, you want to head up to the northwest corner and protect from range, take out the Ranger, then switch to melee and do not move from this corner. As you can see in that barricade just to the top left of the screen, there's actually a big shit flinger mage stuck behind that. So take out all of these melees, then switch to protect from magic, and go finish this fella off. Simple as that. Go back in to this spot here up in the northeast. This is the Armadillo round. This is very annoying if you can get it, as you just seen there, where you trap the Armadillo on the side. That is the best spot to use, as neither of the armadillos can actually attack you. You can finish off the mage with your range, and then you can take your time killing out all the dills. Although unfortunately I absolutely failed at this, and as you see on screen, there's no need to panic. Just separate and hide behind this top barricade so the mage can't attack you, or hopefully he can't attack you, and finish off the armadillo that is actually fighting you. And then the rest is simply finish them off with Dreadnips, similar to wave 6 and the middle, wave 19 I think it was the other one. where you can either flinch or just use your dreadnips to finish them off, either way. Sorry about the unclear instructions on this one, but you pretty much stand next to that northeastern barricade and then try and trap the armadillo from the northeast corner on the south side of that barricade to block the western armadillo. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, that is the general tactic anyway. This round is probably one of the hardest rounds in the kiln, I gotta be honest. There's only one other round that really poses a massive threat, and that's wave 35. And we'll get to that in a second. But finally, once you've killed all them, you then have an all melee round, which is pretty much straightforward. You can try to move them around to trap them, like you just seen me do here. This way only one of the melees will attack you at a time. And for some reason my turtle managed to block all of these. So yeah, if you can try to do the same, it's pretty straightforward. You won't take much damage from them with Protect from melee up. So, wave 30 is again on the northeast side of the center rock to block Jad from killing you. He's surrounded by all melees. Exactly the same deal as wave 10 and 20. You pretty much sit by here until you're ready to take the Jad and then either flinch or prayer switch him. So you can see my life drop like hell there. If I did pick up a restoration crystal, that would be the perfect time to use it. Yeah, the worst thing you can do on these Jads is panic. And then all you gotta do is finish them off. So now we're on wave 31. So for wave 31, you wanna straight away rush down to the southeast corner and protect from range. And you'll have all 4 rangers attacking you. Just finish them off. And once you're done, finally, head back to the center. And you can grab the crystal if you want it. Then you've got the 4 melees, protect from melee. Or just line them up as you've seen here. You can run directly east and they'll all block each other off. And then just finish these off. Next is run directly south of the center pillar and protect from mage. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to block the top 2, but as you can see here, this is the general tactic. If you hide just on this opposite side here, only 3 of them will attack you, or 2 of them even. And if you keep heading slightly to the south, eventually you can have it so only 1 mage is attacking you at a time. So I've still got the 2 on my ear. If I move just slightly south, eventually only the 1 mage is attacking. This means you will take a hell of a lot of less damage. This wave can actually drain your HP quite a lot, surprisingly. So I wouldn't really underestimate it. Try to keep as few of those mages attacking you as possible at any given time. So now we get into the Jad waves. So wave 31 again is in the northeast side of the center rock. And just finish these off. And now it's time to take your time, do not panic. I was starting to panic on these and luckily managed to pull through. But yeah, just take your time, don't freak out and kill the Jads. Eventually you'll drop him, and then all that's left is the ranger to finish off. Okay, so now we're on the dreaded wave 35. Right as soon as we kill this one. Hands down, this has got to be the worst wave to do in the entire fight kiln. It's only second, well, the only thing closest to it is the Armadillo round, as they are just a pain in the ass, but this one will make you panic. So, for this round, you want to quickly run to the west side of the center rock and put Protect from Magic on. And hopefully you do have an invulnerability crystal in your inventory, as that's pretty much needed for this round. There are other tactics to do this round. I'd highly recommend to do it this way, as this seems to be the easiest. As soon as you see that wave 35 pop up, pop your invulnerability crystal, and it'll kick in just as the Jad spawns. And as soon as you see the Jad start attacking you, you want to move exactly where I'm standing here, which is 1 north, 2 east, or 1 east even, and you'll see the Jad attack. You then want to move 1 step forward, and then 1 step again. This can be very annoying to try and click, as the Jad does take up a hell of a lot of room. And this will push the Jad forward. You then want to take a step back, and then start switching praise for Jad, as your invulnerability crystal will be wearing off. At this point, I'd highly recommend just sitting there for a second, keeping an eye on your prayer switches, just to make sure you've done it right. As at this point I was panicking out of my ass. I thought I screwed this up royally because I couldn't click that extra step forward. And I thought my vulnerability crystal was gone, already worn off. As soon as you've regained your composure, I'd highly recommend attacking the Jad. Obvious reasons. And just keep an eye on your prayer switches. Other than that, that is the tactic. So start off on the west side of the center rock. As soon as you see the Jad start to attack you, move north 1, then east 2, and as soon as he does his second attack, you want to move east once more, which will push the Jad back, then move back to your spot, 1 west. This way you'll be out of range of the Jad's melee attack, and you can just simply prayer switch without being attacked by the big monk, the shitflinger mage, which means you can now safely prayer switch without getting raped. That is the worst part about this entire wave, and it will make you panic and fuck up, and you probably will make a mistake, but just don't panic. You've seen me mess it up, and you will actually be alright. As soon as you've managed to kill that Jad, the rest of the wave is a piece of piss. You just switch protection praise to whatever you need, and then finally finish them all off. At this point, you can breathe a sigh of relief, as you've now gone through the hardest part of the kiln, which is wave 35 and wave 28. So for this wave, you stand on the northeast side as usual on the Jad waves, and this time we got double Jad. So just take a diagonal step towards the northeast, as you've seen here, and you just take out the Jads 1 by 1. Simple enough. Really not many tactics to this. Plenty of ways to do it. You can flinch them if you really want. Doesn't particularly matter, you can flinch back and forth. But yeah, take them out. And the next wave is the squid. Keep in mind that you cannot log out when you're on the squid wave on the final boss. I did try it, and you cannot log out once you're on that wave. So the final time you can log out is on wave 35, unfortunately, so you will have to remember what to do for the squid. Now, depending on what gear you've got, there are plenty of different tactics, but as I'm in Ganodermic, and I'm assuming most players will be attempting this boss in full Gano, all you need to do is put on Protect from range. Keep your health up. If you've got a Constitution Crystal, I'd highly recommend eating it now, as you will need the extra heals from the brews as much as possible. The alternative, if you're experienced in the kiln, as many may know, is just use the mage crystal, and you'll do a hell of a lot more damage in return for less defense. So, it's really up to you which one of those two you want to take. I'd highly recommend the Constitution Crystal personally. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the entire fight kiln. Now, as usual, I have tried to make this as simple as possible, so there's not much to actually remember. Which, to be honest, there really isn't. The first 20 waves, very simple. Hide behind the bottom L shape. On the 10th waves, you get Jads. On wave 6 and 19 you get the Armadillos, which you'll realise because the wave won't end if you don't move from the L shape, simple enough. Then you've got the special strategy for wave 26 onwards, for almost every wave. And then the hard wave, wave 35, which is an absolute bitch. Other than that, nice and easy. The boss does have quite a hell of a lot of life, and these two tentacles, well, the multiple tentacles, you can see there's two types. One uses mage, one uses melee, range even. And if you're within 2 squares of them, they will melee you as well. Try to stick to the corners as much as possible. Do not stand in the middle of the room, as they will rip you apart. And try to stay as much as possible where there's mostly mages or very little that can attack you. That way you'll be protected from range thanks to your prayers, so you won't take a lot of damage from them. And this spot right here you can see is perfect. All 3 of them use range. You take almost no damage. Stay out of the center, obvious reasons. Every single tentacle can attack you when you're in the center, which drops your life. Yeah, hopefully you've all managed to succeed, and you finally got your own kiln cape. Just like this. So yeah, I hope this helped. Please leave some feedback. I would very much appreciate it. And yeah, until next time. Next vid, probably the penguin quests. Whopping.